Hey, it's Letsyn. Welcome to the newest feedback session. And I believe we finished our last session with the dude Feisu Rawbleed. Feisu. What a cool profile picture. So let's go to the next one, and it is Oli Sarenpay or something like that. Anyway, maximize bling blind. Okay, let's listen to it instead. Okay, this was pretty cool. I love this song. I mean, everything was really well arranged and the sound design was on point too. And okay, this was a remix, so you got the vocals and I bet some of the stems too, like instruments and stuff. So I really love what you did here. And I think you know that there were some problems around the mix sound, and this is why you sent it to me for feedback. Now, the first thing what I always notice if there are problems around the drums, because you know that is my main area. I love working and tweaking drums and synthesizing drums. Now, the first thing is the kick does not hit hard enough. I mean, the mix down of the, well, not the mix, I mean the sample itself, or how you mixed the kick is not very good, because you know it just doesn't cut through the mix. Even at in the second drop, when you use that kind of trappy, oops, yeah, the trappy part. You know, trap doesn't need to use too hard hitting kick drums, but even though here the kick is still very sloppy, or yeah, it is just too weak. What I would like to do in your case, I think I covered this one of my previous feedback session video, is I would take this kick. Okay, I can use only this section, so there are tons of stuff playing on the kick, so maybe let's choose or find another place to steal the kick. So what I would do here is saturate it a lot heavier. Come on. Okay, this will be cool. So what I would do here is definitely add some saturation to it. So let's drop a saturator and add some pretty heavy crunch to it. It's not a problem if you hear some very weird distortion, and well, you won't hear clipping, but some sort of distortion may appear. And what I love in Ableton 10 is the drums bass, so let's add some pretty hard transients to it. And now let's work with the EQ to get rid of those frequencies what you may hear distorting. And maybe cut a little on the highs. Okay, and now let's compare the saturated one and the raw one. Maybe it's not the best processing here, but you get the idea, you know, to make your kicks a little harder. Even if you use a drum synthesizer, you can add some more energy on the middle bass area, like at around, I don't know, like F2, or I don't know what the frequency number is for that. So let's see, F2, so at around, yeah, I want at around 200 Hertz. I will definitely play around with the pitch bending of the kick drum at around 200 Hertz. Maybe in a later tutorial I will discover this topic. Okay, so this is the first thing here. Let's delete that, don't need that anymore. The second problem here is really the mix down. I mean, everything is so cool. The sounds you use here is pretty awesome. But there are sounds which are very muddy, especially at around the middle bass frequency, middle bass area. I think I remember a vocally kind of thing in the beginning of the song, or somewhere, I don't know. Yeah, this section here. Okay, it's not the vocally kind of bass, but I think the, you know, the saw chords what you're using here. There are some very weird frequencies what you definitely need to chop off or decrease at least. Yeah, at around 1-2K. But only on that sawy kind of chord thingy. And this section here too. Very weird frequencies. You know, you need to take care of this. If you use the FabFilter Pro EQ, there is a EQ matching feature of that, I think, if I'm correct. So use that and compare your sound to a loop or a sound what you really like. And that is the fastest way to, you know, to fix these sounds, what you hear and what I hear, where I hear muddiness. Okay, that is the same sound here. What I hear. Yeah. Okay, so you definitely need to fix this area here. This vocal stuff, this is what I mentioned in the beginning of the video, or the beginning of my feedback. This vocal stuff needs to be cleaned up a little. It's almost okay, but yeah, it definitely needs some cleaning. What I would do is just use a OTT or something and just, you know, pull back the driver knob a little to around, I don't know, 20 or 30%. Okay, so the mix down is, you know, it's almost good, but it definitely needs some tweaking here and there. And the second thing here, what I heard is your drums are too quiet compared to the other instruments, and this can cause muddiness too. So what I like to do is use drum groups or even drum buses for example, the instruments, the basses, the sub, and the kick. Okay, so this is what I like to do. I like to pull back the drums, let's call this drums, to about -3, and everything else below, just like for example 3 decibels, like 6 or 7 or even 8 decibels. Okay, I mean the difference is only 5 decibels, but you get me. This will make your sound be consistent, and this is very important, especially if your drums are not the loudest part. You will run into problems, and this is the case here, as I believe and as I can hear it. So you definitely want to use your drums and instruments and stuff like this. And this is all. The full song is pretty good, I really like that, but work on the mix down a little more, okay? So good job overall. It's really a good job. Okay, so Ben Murray, let's hear your No Chill track too. Okay, again, nice job, Ben. Hey, stop the music. Please stop the music. Please don't stop. Okay, so here is the song. I really like that. And as you may hear, Ben, I can hear some problems around Mixdown again. I mean, overall, the arrangement and the sounds are pretty cool, so I just could not complain anything about that. But the Mixdown really needs to be tweaked, just, you know, at a few plays, but it will definitely make your sound a lot harder and, you know, just into your face. And this is essential and very crucial, especially at around the noises what you use here. So I understand and I really agree that if you use a noise riser here and there under the Mixdown, under your subs and synths and stuff, it can really fill your background. It can really fill up your mix, and it is a cool thing. So just go and use it. It's not a problem at all. But what I hear is you use them too much. I mean, in amplitude, in level, they are just too loud, and the highs are just, they are too dominant, especially on especially on these risers, these noisy stuff, and the hi-hats, the 808 hi-hats. Let me check. Yeah, man, it's just too much. Trap loves hi-hats, but not in the way to sacrifice your middles, and especially the very hard middle basses and the subs. The bass is really cool, and this lead sound is pretty cool too. But as I can hear it, it's, you know, the dominant frequency area is only the highs, and it is it's just a problem because, you know, it just makes your sound feel too far from you, not in the face, not in front of you. And a good Mixdown's purpose is to, you know, make your sound into your face and make it really hard and really, you know, just want to hear it loud. But this way, your middles are missing, and you can only hear the highs, and your kick and the snare is just, it's almost okay. I would definitely add some more crunch to it. I mean, the kick is cool. Yeah, it just somehow the full Mixdown is a little too dominant on the highs, and you really need to pull those middle frequency up a little more. I think if I remember well, I use a similar kind of song with a similar kind of effects. Let me try to find it to you guys. You know, just to compare it, like my projects, video, cymatics, trap course. Yeah. Okay, so I use a very similar kind of sound here and a very similar kind of Mixdown, because I use those squeaky kind of sounds in the drop. Now, these what I do here. Okay, as I can hear, it is not the final Mixdown because it is over distorting, and I don't know why. I don't remember I saturated my sound this hard, but never mind, you can hear the difference just, you know, around the middles and around how close it is into your face. Anyway, you get the idea. And I'm thinking about offering or making a new series of cleaning up your songs. So if you are interested, just send me the stems, very detailed stems of this song, and I will make a video of you know, tweaking up and cleaning up your mix down. If you are interested, and if any one of you guys are interested, just hop into my Facebook group. I will put the link for this. I will put the link for it in the descriptions, and you know, send me your stems, and I can't guarantee I will fix everything and I will go through all of your songs, but I think I would definitely want to start a new series about this. Okay, so these were my compliments about them. Oops. Of your song, I mean. Overall, it's a cool song, by the way. Okay, so let's go to the next dude, who is Rubon. Okay. Oops, this is not available. Maybe you removed it. Never mind, let's go to the next one. Okay, again, I pretty like this song, and if this is original vocal, no, it's a remix. Okay, never mind. It's a pretty cool song, and I really like what you did here. There are I cannot say too much things about the mix down. Thankfully, it is pretty clean. I mean, I like the mix down of it. There is only one thing about the mix down I would mention, and this can be only a personal thing again. But the drums, I would love to hear a little punchier drums, not these. Okay, how to explain this? The transients sound more like a hi-hat and not a percussion. So this section sounds more like a hi-hat, and I know that in liquid drum and bass. This is the case, and liquid guys don't like to use very hard-hitting transients. But I don't know, I would love to hear a little, you know, a little cleaner, a little sharper transients on your song, on your kicks and on your snares. This is, you know, it just sounds like a hi-hat, and I don't like to hear a I would like to hear a or a something like it's really hard to explain. But let me bring in where is my user library? Okay, let's synthesize drums. I have my own kit. Okay, there is not too much room here, so let me show you the transient and compare the transient what I would expect, and the kick to, hey, where are you? Show in browser. Okay, so here is the kick and the snare. Oh yeah, the snare is very heavily saturated, and this is why it sounds very crispy and not very hi-hatty. And as I said before, it can be a personal thing, but okay, they are too close to each other. Sorry for taking this too long. Okay, so just compare the transients. Maybe it is too long. And sometimes it can help just, you know, making your transients a lot shorter. Yeah, it's already a lot better. Or maybe just cut from the beginning of it. No, we definitely need the beginning of the transient. Yeah, it's a lot better now. Just try to make your transient a little slower, not slower, shorter. Let me just try to do it in your song. So, I don't know how to achieve that, but just cutting a little on the transient, and let's see if it will make your sound a little more expected. I would not say it is better, but I don't know, I would just expect more hard-hitting drums, especially on the transient, because on the low end and everything else I find them sounding pretty cool. So let's see now. Yeah, okay, definitely this is what I wanted to achieve. Plus adding some transient master, the drum bass, you know, the new Ableton drum bass only on the kick will bring up some more aggressiveness on the transient, and boom, we are there. To do this on the snare too will make some very cool change, I believe. So this is a very nice and sharp transient here for the snare. I would not say this would work perfectly with your song. No, I don't think it will fit well, but let's try it. It is too loud, of course. Let's pull it back. Let's make some fades, if I can. Okay, that's cool. Or maybe not cool. I don't know why this does this. Weird. Okay, maybe let's try this way. I want crossfade, not regular fade. Come on, do it. Do what I want to do. Never mind, let's try it this way. Yeah, I think it will make some cool change to it. Okay, so you get me take a very nice sounding, very sharp and crispy and hard hitting snare and try to replace the very beginning of it, not only the transient, but maybe a little on the beginning of the snare. And this is all about the drums. I would like to hear a little more distorted and more aggressive kind of bass sound, because these basses are, I mean, they are pretty cool. I really love how they sound, but they are more like dubstepy kind of basses, because drum and bass, neuro basses are more like distorted, noisy, and very, you know, empty in the middle frequency area. Now these are more like dubstep basses, because those dubstep basses are made of like warping your stuff, warping your wavetable in Serum, and you know, just tweaking a band reject filter or a HP filter or something like that, and distorting it just a little. But so these are cool sounds, but I would definitely push these sounds into a more neuro kind of way, with adding more distortion and cutting the middles a little more. But it's cool, I'm not saying it doesn't work. So good job. I would do these changes to your song, and I would say it would be pretty cool. It is pretty cool already. Okay, so let's see the next guy, Jaber C.
You were a legend.
Okay, nice work here again. Where to start it? It's not that bad, don't be afraid. The beginning of the song, sorry, is pretty cool with this piano stuff. It's very beautiful. In this section, so arrangement wise, I mean, your song is pretty good, but I would tweak it a little on, arrangement wise, as I said before. Because, for example, in this section, I would definitely bring in some more stuff. I don't know, a pad or a bass pad or anything like that, which, you know, just breaks a little these piano chords. Because in the beginning, it was pretty good, and it is still pretty good, but when only the vocals come in, I would definitely want to hear a little change to it, like adding another instrument or I don't know, like doing something with it, because you know, listeners don't always just listen to the vocals, but the surroundings too. So if you don't change it, even though you brought in the vocals, everything else, the musical surrounding is not changing. So you definitely want to do that to make it a little more interesting. Now in this section, it builds up pretty well into this section, so it comes up with that arpeggiated kind of synth sound, and it comes everything in with this boomy kind of effect here. I don't know what is this, like an impact effect or something, but you know, nothing changes attention-wise. So you brought in those risers and that impact kind of effect, but the thing what you just led us to is not very, you know, I would not say this is not interesting, but we would definitely love to hear more tension to the sound. What we get is just a very weak pad in the background, and this pulsating vocal kind of repeating stuff. It's not bad, but I would definitely add more, you know, to make your sound more interesting. And the same thing happens when we get into the drop. This section is somehow, I don't know what to do with it. So don't misunderstand me. It's not that bad, but you lose something. So your build-up based on only one sound, the noise riser. It doesn't give too much tension. And okay, you speed up that vocal effects. But in this section, we lose everything, especially when we get to the drop. I'm not sure if I would stop here. This is the first thing, and this is the first time I'm saying this, because I love these little pauses before the drop. But I'm not sure if I would stop here. Maybe I would build up the full build-up. I would make the build-up right into the drop. But it's just a quick idea. Maybe it won't work. This section here with the vocal is a little weird for me. Maybe it is a personal thing again, but it somehow distracted the flow of the drop, which is very slow and very I don't know, you know, not that energetic. It's cool. And the vocal pretty slows it down, because, you know, it uses very, very long sustained notes. Maybe I would hide the vocal a little, sometimes not in the full drop, but somewhere. Just hide it a little in the background, just pulling up the driver knob on the reverb, and then just pulling it back
and then hide it again, play with it a little, not too much. And it's again just an idea to make your drop a little more interesting. And why not try to fill this section up with effects, you know, to make it a little more interesting, using more ear candies, like surprising effects, you know, to make, and just kicking your intros or your musical parts from this very regular kind of feeling. Like for example here, like, and going forward. Okay, maybe it sounds a little funny, but I think you get my idea. Just, you know, small little glitches. We are the only ones. And using more instruments, and instruments which are more in the face and more, you know, stronger instruments. Yeah, this was a little better. This pre-drop section was a little better than previously, because we know what to do with this. But again, maybe it is a little too long. So when we get here, boom, and I would bring bring the drop here, somewhere here. It would make a lot more sense for me. Maybe again, it is personal, but I would just feel this pre-drop section a lot more, especially when we get to the drop. I think it works better. Okay, this is all. I mean, the full song is cool, as I said, but arrangement-wise, I would tweak it a lot. To make it more interesting, you know, and build those tensions a lot better and a lot more. But otherwise, I really like that. Okay, so let's go to the next dude. Camp Tiero. Oops, this is not the song. Or maybe it is. Okay, let's go to Soundcloud. Okay, sorry for stopping it, because there are a lot to talk about here. I bet you just started producing or not too long ago. And first of all, the mix down is, you haven't done too much mix down here, obviously. So I don't want to sound cocky or something, but I try to give you some tips to tweak up your song. Now, where to start? Okay, try to process your groups, like the drums differently. You want to make your drums stand out, especially level-wise and crispiness-wise. You really want to use quality drums. This is the first thing, and when you get them, just try to process them in the way to, bringing up to a certain dynamic range the drums, and then do the same with the instruments, basses and stuff, because you don't want to have your instruments and every other sounds unprocessed in the master. Because you don't do that, you can do anything with the master, and you can process your master channel. You know, you can do anything, it will not sound well. So this is the first thing, and as I can see, you didn't tweak your master channel, because I can see it on the waveform. But okay, just don't tweak too much on it. This is my second tip. First, tweak your channels and instruments. Okay, when you get that, just add a very minimal kind of saturation, compression, maybe some EQing and a limiting at the end of the master. This is the full chain what I use and do all the time, but it needs to process your instruments before. Okay, so this is very essential. The second tip, try to use more interesting sounds. Now in the drop, sorry, not in the drop, but in the beginning of the song, these are two simple sounds, so it doesn't catch my interest and it doesn't catch my attention because of the two regular and two squarey, just, you know, basic waveforms. You definitely want to step away from these. There are hundreds and hundreds of serum effects and serum presets out there to reach free. Even I made a few of them for free to download. So try to use them. Okay, it will just step up your game like 200% more. And I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this bass, you know, playing the same notes with this very simple melody. This boomy sub-boom kind of thing is too loud, obviously, and as I can see it on the waveform, not only hear that. The build-up section needs more tension again. And we just can't decide and can't hear when we get to the drop. It's very weird because, you know, the sound what you use in the drop starts earlier than the drums itself. So it's just a little messy. What is happening here, I ask myself. So try to fix that. Try to make the listeners obvious where the drop begins also, so they can start nodding their head or jump or something. Okay, so continue exploring yourself, your interest in sounds, and try to. It's not a bad thing if you copy a song when you learn producing. I talked to a lot of big producers, and they said they made lots of songs by just, you know, copying arrangement, copying different thing from a song what they liked. It is not a problem at all. It doesn't mean you copy that song, but you just get ideas and get inspiration from a song. Everybody does that, okay? Even your biggest icons do that. So it's not a problem at all. Try to focus on your thing, of course, but get ideas from different songs and try to, you know, learn arrangement, try to learn things from them. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so this was Camp, and let's go to Harry. Harry. okay, I pretty liked the main concept of this song. The beginning, I don't know, it's just a little too quiet and too simple compared to the drop. I would love to hear a little reverb on this snare, by the way. And the main idea behind these little blocks and arpeggiated kind of synths are pretty good, is pretty good. But try to bring in some more interesting sounds like vocal kind of pad stuff and stuff like that, you know, because this is, maybe this was intentional, but it sounds more like an 8-bit kind of song. And it's pretty good, I love the idea, especially when we get to the drop. This filthy bass is pretty good. But the problem is the main focus is on the bass now, which cannot be a too big problem, but we definitely want to hear, you know, and we definitely want to decide what is the main focus of the song, not the sub. Of course, the sub or the bass cannot be the main focus in trap, because it is more like trap than dubstep. Because, you know, the sounds, the synths are too in the background, you hide them too much and we cannot hear what is going on, only that very, very heavy sub, or it is not a sub but some kind of distorted a square kind of sound, which is, as I said before, it sounds pretty good, but it is just, you know, not enough. You want to focus on something really, not only on the bass. You don't need to agree with me because I think this was intentional in your case and in this song, but I just feel I just cannot focus on something and it is a problem for me. Overall, by the way, this drop sounds pretty good. Besides, I would love to hear some more, or at least I want to hear some reverb on the snare, but other than that, I pretty like this drop. It's a little better now here, you know, with this future housey layer on the bass, on the sub. And try to, you know, color up your drop a little more with different rhythms, different thing what you try in the drop, not just or something like that. Try to, you know, kick your chords or harmonies out from this path. I would love to hear some very, very nice pad in the background, like a vocally kind of pad. It would make your sound a lot more interesting in an instant. Okay, otherwise I think it's pretty good. So let's go to the next dude. Who are you? Ivo? Or Evo, maybe, I don't know.
She got me loving in the morning, got me singing in the pouring rain, got me wrapped around her finger. I'm perfect in the palm of your hand. Message couldn't be much clearer, like a metaphor make-believe. Knew somebody would've pinched me. Now we breathe the end of this dream. Well, probably my man was just something about you turns me to a savage. Say yeah, to a savage. If I'ma be honest, I can't help but think, yeah, I'm losing my balance. Got me running in circles around you to please, yeah, I do what I need to. So pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage.
Cool one. It is a really cool song. Now, I have the same problem as what like 2 songs or 3 songs before, because this section is pretty good, but when we get to the clappy part, there is ba 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 ba. Bass is building up from the drop, but it's just makes the sound too empty. I mean, you cannot really hear anything besides the vocal and the clap and the kick, of course. Very, very empty. So try to add more instruments and more stuff to make it a little more interesting, because I just lose my interest in this part. The first section was cool, but you want to step up your game, and not only with the claps and the drums, which, you know, part of the build-up and not part of a real song instrument-wise. Anyway, you get my idea. And the drop, I mean, the bass in the drop can be very cool, especially with the background feeling noises. What you use here is pretty good. So it's interesting and stuff, but the main bass is just too, sorry for saying that, but too boring. I mean, you don't really use anything, and it doesn't change in notes, so you don't use melodies there, just bom 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 bom. Try to, you know, play around with the noise, not the noise, with the bass itself, like bom 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 bom. It sounds stupid, but you get my idea, like, you know, a complex rock kind of thing, or a dubstep kind of a thingy. Just you don't need to do dubstep or anything, but you want to make your song a little more interesting, because the main bass here is just plays too much. It's just too monotone. But in the second part of the drop, okay, this section, so it is pretty good. You change the pattern here. Although I feel this bass, the second bass, a little weak. So what I would do with it is just add the saturator to it, to make it sound a little harder or louder, I don't know. I don't know, overall it's cool.
Well, pardon my manners, just something about you turns me to a savage. If I'ma be savage.
Again, my problem here is the same. These intro pianos are cool. And what I really like here is how you use the reverb from the vocal. I would really love to hear more of this vocally kind of thing, like, you know, pushing up the reverb tail and making the tail a lot longer, like, you know, reaching this section of the piano part, because it would make your sound a lot more interesting and more airy and atmospheric, which is pretty good. And I would definitely add some more effects, like vocal chants or vocal ad-libs with huge reverb tails. It will make your sound a lot more interesting. And this section you bring in the sub and you start fading in your main bass from the drop, which can be cool, but it's not enough. We try to add a huge reverb to this main bass to, you know, make it a little different than what you will be able to hear in the drop. Although with the build-up effects like the risers and stuff, I would definitely work a little more on that. But overall, it can be a really, really great song. So I hope I was able to help you. And let's see the last guy for today, Joseph. Okay, pretty nice song again, and this time it is balanced pretty well. The intro section is very nice. I love this atmospheric kind of piano stuff and those effects in the background. And when we get to the, I don't know, not the intro, but the musical part, it definitely makes sense. Everything, you know, comes together. The instruments are they're just cool. I mean, I don't miss anything. Although the main lead or the plucky kind of sound what you bring in, it's just a little too simple for me, or at least I would add more effects like very hard reverb kind of thing. Now, in the drop, this sound is very hard and like very, it is very similar to what Excision uses, which is it is a good thing, you know, but it turns out that you don't use anything to break this sound. I mean, you definitely want to use more instruments and more variations to this sound to make it more interesting. These glitches are pretty good. But overall, I mean, when I get here, I am pretty bored of the bass, so you definitely want to change it a little, like tweaking the filter or adding a layer or something, or just using different variations of the sound, you know, complex kind of thingy. Or bring this section in a little closer. Or bring this section in a little sooner, okay? You know, just to make your sound, you make your song movement a lot more intense. Again, this section is cool, but the main lead is, I don't know, it's a little distracting me, sound design wise. I would love to hear a little more interesting kind of lead. And the same thing again with the drop. But overall it's a cool song, just try to make it a little more interesting with different sounds and different glitches, different variations. So I hope you guys enjoyed this new feedback session, and I will continue with a new one next week. Bye bye.